You made it to your mat today. Thank you so much for arriving here. Hi, my name is Josephine and I'll be guiding you through this Yin Yoga flow. Today's Yin Yoga class is meant to take you to a somewhat challenging but loving space in your mind. You may need a block, but it's optional. Just keep it beside you. Let's begin in child's pose. Spread your knees as wide as the mat and let the belly hang. Bring your hips back as you reach your arms forward and spread your fingers wide. Your forehead touches the mat gently. Begin to breathe slowly, inhaling for a count of 3 and exhaling for a count of 3. If you're having trouble breathing while your forehead is on the mat, you can always place one cheek to the sides so that you're looking to one side instead. Here I have my left cheek on the mat, and later, after a couple breaths, I'm going to switch to the other side. Let's slowly begin to climb out of child's pose. In tabletop position, settle the knees hip-width in distance right under the hips, and your hands will be shoulder-width in distance under the shoulders. Inhale to curl the spine as you gaze upward from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Exhale to round the spine as you gaze toward your belly and anchor the palms to the mat. Inhale, once again curling the spine and reaching your tailbone high. Exhale around each vertebrae as you gaze downward. Do a couple more at your own pace. As you can see, I'm going really slowly, but you can pick up the pace if you wish. On your next exhale, find a neutral spine. From here, we're going to curl the toes under and lift our knees until we can extend our legs as we settle into downward facing dog. Remember to keep your fingers spread wide and hug the forearms in. Imagine the sides of your body lengthening as you inhale the belly button to the spine. Exhale to knit the ribs in. Now bend one knee while keeping the opposite leg extended. And on your next exhale, switch, bending the opposite knee and extending the other. Keep slowly walking your dog, letting the body warm up. Pairing the breath with each movement. You're doing great. Almost done. On your last exhale, look between the hands and set your knees down. Curl the toes under and sit on the heels. Toe squat. Keep breathing deeply. If this is too intense, you can grab your block and place it under your seat on top of the heels. Take deep breaths as you relax the body and enjoy this pose. Let's move on. Remove the block and come onto your hands and knees. Gently tap the feet against the mat to release tension. Untuck the toes and press the knees together. Move the flesh of your calves out from underneath you. Place your hands behind you at about a shoulder width distance or wider. The fingers come parallel to your mat. It's okay to sink into the shoulders here. If you have a blanket at home, you can roll it up and place it under your knees if they're too sensitive. Or place the blanket under the tops of the feet if you need more support there instead. Slowly bend one elbow at a time. Expand the lungs by inhaling longer and lock the mind into steadiness with every slow exhale. Relax the body. Let yourself experience any intense sensations throughout this practice. Unless it's a sharp pain, then you'll need to back off. And if these physical sensations bring up emotions by any chance, I invite you to be present with what you're experiencing, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Option to grab a block and set it right under the shoulder blades. Make sure that you set the block at an appropriate height. So you don't want to be uncomfortable here. I have it at the lowest height. Alternatively, you can skip the block entirely and you'll see me eventually removing it. Continue to be with your thoughts and continue to cultivate that space of stillness and peace within yourself with each breath. Slowly lift yourself back onto your elbows and then your hands. Come onto hands and knees. Gently tap the tops of the feet once again onto your mat to release tension and grab your block. Rest your palms on top of the block. Stretch your arms forward and let your heart melt as you bring the knees right under the hips. Rest your forehead on the mat. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, remove the block, have your hands shoulder width distance, and press your chin onto the mat while your heart continues to melt. Eventually, you'll see me do this too. Round your spine as you slowly rise up. Bring your seat onto the mat and just lie down slowly. As you do so, hug the knees in towards the chest. Bring the palms on top of the knees, squeeze them gently, and you can rock side to side here to release the low back. We're just going to be here for a couple breaths as we transition to the next pose. Okay, great. So you're just going to place the feet onto the mat, lift yourself up until you can sit on your heels yet again, just to begin. Step the left foot in front of you. The opposite knee draws back further, so you're in a wide lunge. Shift your weight forward. Interlace the fingers on top of the knee. We'll be here for a couple breaths before descending onto our hands and forearms. If you have 2 blocks, you're welcome to set them underneath the palms. Stay here or place your palms next to your front foot at about a shoulder width distance. Again, if you can't quite reach the mat, you're welcome to place a block under each palm. If you're feeling a little too tight here, almost like you can't breathe, or you just need more space in the body, you can move your left arm right next to the inside of your knee. Stay here or move down onto your forearms, ensuring that the elbows are right under the shoulders. Let's slowly reverse this movement. Place the hands back onto the mat and slowly begin to extend your left leg. It's okay if the sole of the foot stays on the mat, but you can also flex the foot. You might want to shimmy the leg or the hips side to side as I'm doing, just to release the muscles. And slowly move on to the right side of the body. So here I'm stepping my right foot forward, shifting my weight forward as well. Interlace the fingers on top of that right knee. If you want to, you can stay here or bring the fingertips or the palms onto the mat, right next to your front foot at about a shoulder width distance once again. Slowly moving down onto the forearms. I hope you haven't forgotten to keep breathing deeply. Let's prop ourselves back onto our hands. Extend the right leg and shift the hips back, and then come into child's pose for a breath or two. Lie onto your stomach. Place the elbows right under the shoulders at about a shoulder width distance. Relax the legs. It's okay in Sphinx pose to sink into the shoulders. Let's progress onto our hands. So placing the hands right by the chest, your fingers might be parallel to the edges of your mat or fingers facing forward. You can have a slight bend in the elbows or fully extend the arms here for a deeper stretch. Moving on from here, slide your right knee to the right wrist and elongate your left leg. Press the hips, ensuring that your right leg is at a 45-degree bend. You may also progress eventually to a 90-degree angle. Stay on your hands or come down to your elbows. You have the option here to do as I'm doing, which is to put a block under your right hip if your pelvis needs some extra support. If you're on your elbows, press your hands back onto the mat, shift your weight back and pull your left leg forward and just switch to the left side. Again, the left knee is going to touch the left wrist as you pull the opposite leg back. And you have the option again of placing a block under your left hip. Stay on your hands or come down to your elbows. If you like, you can place the forehead onto the forearms as I'm doing here. press the palms back onto the mat. Remove the block and stretch out your legs in front of you for a moment. You can flex or point the toes for a gentle release. And when you're ready, you can lie onto your back. Place the soles of the feet onto the mat as close to your seat as possible and bring the arms by your sides. Take your block with you and place it right under the tailbone. So the block shouldn't feel painful here. If it is, you're probably placing it too high up on the low back. It's really at the fleshy part of the low back, which is the start of your seat. So take your time to position it. I have it at the lowest height here, but you can place the block higher. At this point, you can join me in extending the legs to target the psoas. Place the feet back onto the mat. Remove the block from underneath you. Hug the knees in towards the chest and rock side to side. Let's get ready for a final resting pose, Shavasana. Extend the legs down the mat. Place the arms right beside you. The palms face the sky. And with that, I'd like to share with you a passage from a book that I'm currently listening to called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Everything in life is a mind game. Whenever we get swept under by life's dramas, large and small, we are forgetting that no matter how bad the pain gets, no matter how harrowing the torture, all bad things end. So I hope you enjoy the Shavasana. If you're ready, you can roll over to one side and find a comfortable seated position. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next video.